little bit longer. Hello, everyone. Welcome to SuppTalk Radio. As always, I am joined by two of my personal friends here in the business. Some people might think it's therapy. Some people might think it's a bash session. But as always, I am joined by Mr. Juan Salazar of Gainz Express. And
Hello.
And of course, you know this very clean-shaven gentleman this evening, Mr. Robik Samborsky of Apollon, Apollon Nutrition, Anarchy Labs, and Apollon Gym. Gentlemen, how are you?
Great. I'm great. I'm very blessed and very happy. How are y'all?
I'm doing great. I mean, this is a great group of people, so we're gonna have fun. I'm excited.
So, guys, we got a lot of good questions here right off the bat. Okay, and I'll start with you, Juan. Like always, we'll put it on the screen here. For Juan, what has been the most rewarding part of your supplement journey thus far?
Honestly, it's really just been the fact that I get repeat buyers. The repeat customers to me are the most rewarding part. And also, too, just it's going to sound like kind of a cliche, but it's 100% honesty. It's just when I get that notification on my Shopify that someone placed the order and it's someone that I recognize, because I do my best to try to put a name to the face. And when I see that, it makes me so happy to know that someone took their hard-earned money, because just like me, I work a job and I have this on the side, and just the fact that someone took their hard-earned money that they worked for and they wanted to go support a small brand, it makes me happy, and it makes me like, it gives me more of a sense of purpose, especially when I get to throw in like free goodies in for them. Just that's my thank you. Like, it makes what I do very fulfilling.
Got it. I love that. And Robik, jumping in here, how do you stay ahead of the competition and continuously innovate?
Mm, you know what? I think by not, I like these type of questions. They're very real. I don't think I pay attention to competition. I mean, I'm lying. Of course, I pay attention. Everybody pays attention. But I think if you focus on what you're doing and you're staying true to yourself and you trying to raise your own game, I think that's what counts the most. And I think that the goal is always to be better than you were before, and to raise the bar and challenge yourself. That's it.
Very well said. Very well said. So what's going on with how have you been doing with the new release of the pre-workout, the version 2 one? I know we talked about it off air, but you just released it a month ago, 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's been really good. The feedback that I've gotten has been amazing, and just like and for me, just for full transparency, I'm all about being transparent. I wanted to make sure that all of the negative stuff that I gotten off of Volume 1, and if it's customer feedback, I'm gonna take it 100%. And I wanted to make sure that Volume 2 delivered on any kind of negative feedback that I got off of Volume 1, because you're not gonna hit it out the park every single time. And then on top of that, if you don't try to make any kind of room for improvement, then you're just gonna be stuck in one space at every single time. You don't want to just keep reinventing the wheel. You want to try to keep making it different, innovative, kind of like what Robik does with his products. And you want to keep trying to innovate for yourself. You don't want to innovate for the competition. And the feedback that I've gotten has just been like incredible, and I love it. And I'm looking forward to making new flavors, but I'm also looking forward to Volume 3.
You're 6 weeks in, and you're already thinking about Volume 3.
I have Volume 3 and Volume 4 already laid out. Volume 4 is kind of like the final stage, but Volume 3 is the next one up next, and I'm looking forward to it because it's gonna get better and better and better. But kind of like what Robik did as far as for Desperado, I want to make sure it stays cost effective, because again, I go back to me being a regular person. Shit's getting expensive. Shit's getting fucking expensive, and I want to make it cost effective as much as I possibly can. And I want to play around with the formula to make sure that costs are always going to be down, so that way I can always give you a sale. I can always give you a discount to where it doesn't break the bank.
I feel it's a younger version of you, Rob, but you drop version
It's
whatever.
like listening to myself. That's crazy. It's when I release a version 2 or 22. I already know what the next one's gonna be. So it's actually pretty cool that like-minded person. But I totally see it's because I think that people like us, it's more than just about business. I think it's a challenge, creativity, and we really love what we are doing. So I think it's a little bit more than that. Yeah, like Juan said, it might come off as cliche, but it's true. We like to challenge ourselves and we like to do better and better and better. So there is a little bit of an adrenaline rush to it.
Yeah, it is. Like the amount of time that I just spend looking at the spreadsheet whenever I'm laying out the measurements on the grams, and I'm looking at different ingredients to know what's going to work well together and what's not going to work well together. And if I'm looking at like, okay, do I really need this? If I look at my spec sheet as far as the cause, okay, can I do it without this? Maybe swap it out with this. It becomes kind of like a juggling act. But at the end of the day, I want to make sure it's effective, but at the same time, it's not going to break the bank because, like I said, shit's getting crazy expensive, and I want to make sure that the first thing people are going to look at is a price tag. That's the first thing they're going to look at because I look at price tags. I want to look for a good sale. And I want to make sure that I make something that I can always I can always have sales on, so that way people can always look and say, okay, I'm never going to pay full price on him because he's always looking out.
Yep. Robik, here's a question for you, and maybe Juan, is creatine coming back down again? Because I see all these companies now with creatine, a lot of like little mom and pops here selling like 1,000 grams, 2,000 grams for like $20. Is creatine coming down again, or is that just kind of some kind of scam that I'm seeing?
It was coming down pretty, steadily. The funny thing is, I got a text from one of my manufacturers, like literally about half an hour ago. He said that creatine is going back up.
Why? Why though? I thought we were kind of past all of that, all the border problems and all this other stuff.
I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with the economy. Maybe something to do with the elections. Something with international. I mean, most of the creatine, pretty much all creatine, is coming from China. So God knows. But it's like a stock market right now. The prices go up and down, mostly up. But yeah, it's pretty crazy, and that's the reason why when you see something is suspiciously cheap,
Yeah.
there's something behind it.
I'm still waiting for protein prices to come down. Jesus Christ, the protein cost is just through the roof right now.
Especially the good one. The good one.
Yes, yeah, because that's I'm gonna wait till the question comes for the protein. I'm gonna
Well,
wait for
Juan,
Yeah,
that.
go
yeah.
ahead.
We had a conversation, I think, a few days ago, and manufacturer goes to me, "Why don't you do concentrate?" I'm like, "No, thank you." He goes to me, "Concentrate is fine, but yeah, egg protein isolate are just insane. Isolate is insane."
Yeah.
Juan, go ahead and ask you questions while we're here, brother. Open forum.
Well, it was the question that you had on there, as far as like the why aren't supplement companies still not being transparent? And I remember, so when I did the review for the 50/50, and I remember I wanted to make sure I made it known that as big as the industry has gotten and as saturated as the industry has gotten, there's still very little companies that have actual disclosures and actual yielding amounts, and I don't understand why. Because it's like you can't say, "Oh, well, I don't know what the manufacturer has." Bullshit. You get sent a spec sheet of what you're buying, and so you know what it is. You know what it is, and you know what you could put on there. You just choose not to.
100%. And plus, I do understand that sometimes it's about business. So, we've seen these overweight guys who are running supplement companies and they don't know anything about fitness or gym or anything like that. And I totally get it. That's fine. They business people. It's cool. They investing money into supplement industry. So maybe they're not very knowledgeable. But when it comes to manufacturers, I know when I asked any manufacturer, because I do protein with two different manufacturers. When I asked first, I want a fully transparent yield amount of protein. There was absolutely no problem with that. That's easy to get. That's when somebody says my manufacturer is not going to give it to me or something like that, that's an absolute lie. That's ridiculous. Number one, you can figure it out. Number two, it's a lie. So if you want a transparent protein, you're gonna have a transparent protein. I mean, what's easier, a pre-workout that has fucking 20 different ingredients, a protein that has just like one or two ingredients, and that's it. So to be transparent is very, very easy. But I choose not to be because it's very nice that I'm working right now on our new we are reshaping, redoing our egg protein. And our egg protein, the yield amount is 24 grams of protein yield. So it's a transparent number. Now, the funny thing is that, and I'm going to say it, I mean, again, give a shit. So if we were not to state the yield amount, we could claim that we have 29 grams of protein per serving. But we obviously stating the yield amount. And just for the hell of it, I checked Gaspari's protein, and So if I'm to say on the front of the label 24 grams of protein, uh, on his label it says 25. His 25 is not 25. His 25 is not the yield amount, which means his is 21, 22. So the customer or the consumer that doesn't know any better, or or is not educated on the subject, now he sees two egg proteins on the shelf. One says 24, the other one says 25. His is 25, mine is 24. Mine is actual 24, his is not 25, it's actually 21, 22. But you see how misleading it is. So I was like, you know what? I don't even want to fucking have it on the front of the container is 24 grams of protein, because what the fuck is the point? Now I'm saying I actually have less than him, or in essence, I actually have more than him. So it's very, very tricky, and it's so misleading. So, um, there's a huge lie or dishonesty in the industry when it comes to protein, because I mean they literally are cheating. And the funny thing is that today you have a lot of companies that have transparent pre-workouts, right? Pre-workouts are pretty much, a lot of them are transparent. I'm going to say, I don't know what the percentage is, but there's a lot. So then the company says we are a fully transparent company, but you're not. If you have protein as well, and you're not actually disclosing what the actual yield amount of protein per serving, I mean, you're not a fully transparent company. I already said it before. You have a fully transparent pre-workout, so it's like one or two products that you have transparent, but you don't have the full line transparent. So your brand is not fully transparent brand.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because I was on the phone earlier, and I wanted to. So as Sean knows, I'm trying to do reviews for a bunch of like very small under the radar brands, and I was on the phone and I was like, I cannot, out of my protein shelf, I cannot find a brand that has a disclosure on their protein labels, because I don't want to do the review if I cannot see an actual protein disclosure. And I was looking at it, I was like, okay, I see Black Magic. Black Magic doesn't have any disclosure. What is it? Purist Labs doesn't have one. Um, Nutrix doesn't have one. I'm looking at all of these. I'm like, y'all don't have them, and I don't understand why. Because you're kind of like a nationwide brand. Like, you are a nationwide brand. How do y'all not have it? I even saw Rise, and I'm like, Rise doesn't even have one, and Rise is national and probably global. How do y'all not have a protein disclosure? And some of these companies have, I guess, that they're manufactured in house. So it's like, if you're manufactured in house, then you should be able to have the information already with you. How do you not have it? And it's like, I can't review protein powders because a lot of them don't have disclosures, and I want to make sure I give away the full information.
Well, other than you, Apollon, Nutribio, I do believe Jim Stepani. I do think actually Ghost. I know
Ghost has,
Ghost. Yeah, Ghost has it. And you know what? I don't know many others. To be honest with you, even if you forced me to name, I would struggle to go to 10. I would really, really struggle to go to 10 companies. So, I just named what, five? I mean, I'm sure there are more. I don't want to be disrespectful. I'm pretty sure there are more, but there are not a lot more. And some of them, and it's not just the bigger companies, like you named Rise and Raw. Those companies are huge. Salucor, Muscle Tech, none of them have the full transparency. But what I'm surprised with, the smaller companies as well, the smaller companies, I always thought that, in order to stand out and to, well, you're not really competing because you're going to get squashed by Rise and Raw and Muscle Tech. But in order to be, at least to have a little piece of a pie, you have to have something unique. So either you have to have amazing formulas or something to really stand out. If you are to get at least a small percentage share of the market. But the smaller companies as well, I mean, if you go with the smaller companies, quite a few of them do not have full transparency either. So, but again, if we were talking, say, for example, I just compared Gaspari, and I actually have good relationship with Rich Gaspari, so it's not that I'm talking negatively about it. I'm just stating facts. If he has 25 grams of protein, but in reality, it's actually a lot less. So clearly, his protein is a lot cheaper to manufacture than mine,
Yep.
because it has a lot less. Well, a lot less. I mean, 3 or 4 grams less is a lot less because that's at least 10-15%, at least. So that probably drops the price by at least $2 or something. I mean, again, I'm going on a limb here, but still, and $2 when it comes to wholesale prices, that's a lot. That's a lot. When there is a difference of $2-3, that's a lot of money. So I think that makes a huge difference. And if we're gonna brag about it, and we should, because we should brag about it. We should say like, listen, we are fully transparent. We actually giving you, especially for those people that are doing macros and they counting every gram of protein. Well, if you have 2 or 3 shakes a day and you're thinking that you're consuming 25 grams of protein, combining 2 or 3 shakes a day, your macros are a little bit off by 10-15 grams probably at least.
Yeah.
Which means you're off by about up to 100 calories at least. And I'm just talking about the protein shakes. So that's all important. So why shouldn't I brag about it when I'm paying more for my protein? Why shouldn't I brag about it that I'm actually making an honest product? Why shouldn't I advertise it? That's part of my marketing. Yes, look, I'm fully transparent. I'm giving you the actual amount of protein. So everything, all the numbers, everything are there right in front of you. So, then the other companies are getting upset and saying, well, you're showing off, or it's not exactly true. No, it is exactly true. It's true. So and I see reviews sometimes. I mean, even Dave actually started pointing out that the transparency. He started doing it more, but earlier Dave didn't do it, and Dave would say too. "Oh, this company has that many calories and 25 grams of protein," when in reality they actually didn't. So you can't really, in my opinion, if you're a review channel or you're reviewing a product, be honest. And like, I respect the fact that you don't want to review a product that is not transparent. I respect that. On the other hand, even if you did review it, you can always say, listen, this is not fully transparent product. That's part of the review. When you're reviewing a movie, for example, you're saying great action, but acting sucked. So the same thing, you can say, well, this protein it's isolate, good protein, tastes phenomenal, but it's not fully transparent.
So
Not
so like
everything's perfect.
so like the thing for me whenever I do my when I do like all these small business reviews is that so I'm actually paying for them myself, right? I'm actually like buying the stuff, and for me it's like I'm not going to spend money on a protein, my own money on a protein if I know that I don't know what's there. Pretty
Yeah, it's
much like because
well said.
most
Perfect.
reviewers they get their stuff sent to them, so it's really kind of like I can review it because it was just given to me. Whereas for me, it's like no, if I'm gonna spend my money, I want to make sure I put my money into a brand that actually has a transparent, good quality protein. If not, I'm not gonna waste my money with it because I would rather give you my money to show like, hey, look, I really love your brand. I love that you actually did this. You did something that a lot of brands don't do. So here's my money. I'm gonna pay for it, and I'm gonna do a review off of it. Whereas opposed to the brands that don't have it, it's like I'm not gonna waste my money on it. I just won't.
That's actually a very, very nice angle. I really like it.
So here's a question for you guys, both being brand owners. Do you have to pay more to get the actual yield of the protein, or is that part of the package regardless?
No, you have to pay more, 100%. Because
Okay.
I mean, like for example, you have 25 servings and your competitor has 25 servings. Your has 25 grams yield, and he has 25%, well, not yield, not fully transparent. So your 25 grams would require around 28, 29 grams in order to get 25.
Yep.
And his 25 actually only has 21 or 22 grams of protein. So for the same amount of servings, you're putting a lot more, well, maybe not a lot more, but you're putting more protein into your container than he does. So obviously you're paying more.
Yeah. So when I on my protein, from my experience, whenever I sent the formula and the breakdown, once they sent me the spec sheet, the number that I put, and this is how I learned, the number that I put whenever they sent me the spec sheet breakdown of what the actual yield it was, that's when I saw okay, I wanted 25, so they sent me 25 pre yield. So then I was like, okay, no, I need it to be after yield. I need it to be what it's going to be actually delivering. So that's when they readjusted the spec sheet, and I had to pay more. Just like Robik said, you got to pay more
Of
to be able to
course.
get that finalized amount. So yeah, you got to pay more.
And Juan, I've given you flowers numerous times, but again, people that don't know you yet, First off, you launched a brand. How long is it? A year and a half now? Year maybe? Year and a half?
A year, yeah.
Okay. Your first product was a protein, which nobody does. People are doing pre-workouts, but the fact of your protein was fully transparent, yield and everything from the get-go. Nobody, and again, not because we're friends, but nobody does that. Because again, as we know, doing protein is your first drop, not a lot of margin to be made. So kudos to you.
Right.
And again, you not knowing much, not insulting you, but not knowing much about the industry, the fact that you did the yields and the breakdown and everything else. So flowers and kudos to you, brother.
Thank you, and I appreciate that. And I mean, like I said, for me, this is more. I have to look at it as a passion project because I'm still learning as I go. I'm never gonna say that I got the answers for everything. I don't know shit about shit. I'm always trying to figure everything out. And no, I'm always gonna try to figure it out. But if I can do everything with integrity the right way, I'm gonna do it. Because the last thing I want is to have shit thrown in my face after the fact when I already spent my money. Because everything's being self-funded. So if everything is self-funded, I got to make sure that I'm doing things with the best intentions. So just like Robik said, I just got tired of always shopping for proteins, and I could never find what I want because I don't know what I'm getting. So I was like, you know what? Let me just do it myself. I'd rather just do it myself and just save me the hassle of just trying to look around. And just like you said, there's not a lot of profit margin off of proteins. There's really not, unless you're buying like a large MOQ of it. And so I already knew that I was going to be fighting an uphill battle, and I was okay with it because at least I know that I'm doing it with the best intention. And whenever I was at first doing my little pop-up shops, the first thing when I first started, I took a jar of another protein powder and I was like, look, this is what you're used to. This is what I have. So as you can see, the labels are completely different for a reason. Now, granted, this wasn't the other protein is going to be cheaper, but it's cheaper for that reason because you don't know what you're getting. You don't know what the measurements are, and you don't know exactly the final amount. So you're kind of walking into the unknown. You don't know what the quality is. It could be 60%. It could be 50%. You don't know.
Yep. So, Robik, so someone had asked, how do you decide what to create next? Because I know you don't follow the trends. You're not a trendsetter. You create your own categories and trends. So, how do you decide what to create next?
Well, initially it was a little bit all over the place. I mean, there was no. I wish that I had a strategy, or like Juan said, he released protein. I released also protein first, but I released protein and pre-workout first. So kudos to him because he did it the right way. I think ballsy way for sure. No, I mean, right now I'm trying to balance it more. We used to be known, like Shane used to say, as a pre-workout company. So right now I'm trying to balance it as much as I can. And right now we are definitely paying more attention to extending our flavors and to make sure that we are doing more in terms of protein because everybody has either isolate or they have concentrate, and that's pretty much it. So we're trying to balance it a little bit more. And now with the health line, and considering that I also have to do Anarchy Labs and Body by K, so that's a little bit more challenging. So I actually work on products all the time, like nonstop on a daily basis, and then we just we have meetings, and now it's a little bit more organized where we decide what's going to be released when. But in terms of products, I mean, I already have a lineup for 2025.
That was actually one of the questions is how do you juggle, I guess, what are the challenges of running 3 brands? I mean, do you wake up on a Monday and say, okay, for the morning, I'm going to think about Apollon, the afternoon, I'm going to think of Body by K, or is it just whatever you feel like?
I would say whatever I feel like, but also, there is a certain need to balance it out. So obviously, Anarchy Labs and Body by K not going to have as many products as Apollon Nutrition because that's like the umbrella, that's the main one. And
Yep.
Anarchy Labs is mostly hardcore products, so it doesn't require proteins and multivitamins or anything like that. It's just hard hitting products, hardcore products for hardcore market. So, I mean, how many can you realistically release? 5, 10, and that's about it. So it doesn't require as much attention. I mean, we're going to have another probably 1 or 2 products for Anarchy Labs this year, and that's it. I mean, we're almost at the end of the year. But Apollo Nutrition is going to have at least 5 or 6, whether it's flavor extension or it's going to be a brand new product. We're going to have a lot more, and Body by Care will have 1 more. So, I mean, women's line, you don't need also crazy number, but, it's growing. So we working in terms of, and that has a lot more discussion with Carolina, for example, and what she wants and how she wants it. So we're going back and forth, and it's still both Anarchy and Body by Anarchy is easier, but Body by K, we're still trying to figure out the process, so it's a little bit more meticulous.
Yep.
With Apollon Nutrition, like I said, I pretty much more or less know what's going to happen in the next 6 months.
Okay. And this was an interesting one that came in at the last minute here. Will we ever see Triumph again or something similar?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Triumph was actually planned for end of this year, to do it on December 31st. I was contemplating whether to do Triumph or something sort of similar but slightly different. But then just came up with an idea that was just too good to bypass. And so both Triumph and the other secret formula going to have to wait until 2025.
Okay. And Juan, here's one for you that came in. What have been some of the biggest challenges you've encountered, and how have you navigated them?
First one is money. Jesus Christ, everything is pretty much self-funded by me, and I'm using my own personal money to fund everything. So just juggling finances to make sure that my main priorities are being taken care of, and so that's one of the big ones. And also another big one too, learning the hard way that people aren't really your friends in this industry. There's a lot of corporate politics in here, a lot of fake relationships that people have, and it's like you either go along or you isolate yourself from everybody else, and you just pretty much worry about you.
Robik, I know you're verbal on that kind of topic of people being your fake friends, and I know you're very, very verbal on your stories with that type of topic.
I mean, I want to say sometimes I do say things like this industry is shit and people are shit and stuff like that. But in reality, is I think it's every industry. To be honest with you, I think you get it no matter what you do for a living. Juan has a full time job. I mean, like he said, and I know Sean that you have something going on in your life, and I'm pretty sure you encounter shit, in your industries as well. So it's totally normal, but it's still not okay. It's still very,
Right.
very unfortunate, especially when you see. I mean, obviously, you go to a place like Arnold Classic, or you go to the Olympia, or you go to one of those, uh, I would say, trade shows or whatnot. I mean, you do interact with the industry people face to face sometimes, and in person, everybody loves you, and everybody gives you hugs and kisses and handshakes and fist bumps and all that. And they say how much they love you and how much they miss you and great to see you. Let's do lunch, let's collaborate, let's do this and let's do that. In reality, I'm not going to say every time, but 9 out of 10 it's bullshit. And I'm a type of person that doesn't handle it very well. I mean, I probably should be. I mean, I'm experienced enough. I almost said old enough. Uh, I'm experienced enough, mature enough to understand that that's the way just the world goes. But it still doesn't sit well with me. I think that with my personality and the way I am, it will never be okay with me. Because if I don't like you, I'll say it to your face. And I'm not going to pretend I like you when I see you in person. I think and I think honesty makes life a little bit simpler and easier. Just say what's on your mind, whether it's good or bad. It's much easier than to lie and come up with bullshit all the time, because then you kind of drown in your own lies.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm not a fan of the industry, but like I said, I'm probably not a fan of any industry. It just, my personality doesn't fit the certain criteria or rules of society.
Yeah, because now I call it it's like the bro era now. Everybody's your bro. Everybody wants to be your bro. That term bro is so loose. And it's like, I'm not your fucking bro. Like, we're not family. We're not none of that. We're not friends. You need me for something, and just tell me what you need me for, so we can make this transaction as quick as possible. Like, pretty much.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's kind of, I don't want to be inappropriate. It's kind of like, you're paying for like an escort, you're paying for a hooker. Like, just, I'm paying you to leave. Just I get what I need and just go. Like, that's how I see it. Like, we can skip the foreplay and everything like that. Let's just pay for the transaction and go on about our day.
Juan, you open floor here. We still had a couple of questions, but I know you had some questions that you wanted to ask Robik.
I actually do. I'm gonna pull
Juan
up.
scares me because when he fucking sends me questions, nobody sends me as many questions. You see all those questions that I answer once in a blue moon? 50% are from him.
He
So
does it to me too. He does it
But
to
he
me
does
too.
apologize. He goes to me, I'm sorry if it's too many questions. You don't have to answer all of them. No, I will. I can't. I have to.
it's because, like, for me, I always look at it like I don't know everything, and I'm never gonna claim to know everything. I always have to ask questions because I take everything with a grain of salt from what I see and what I hear. So if I can ask questions, I'm gonna ask questions because I want to know. And like I said, I don't want to be the kind of guy that's like, oh, I know the answer to this. I know the answer to this. Nobody's gonna know everything. Nobody's gonna be right about everything. So if I can find a way to get the information somehow, then I'd rather do that.
But in
That's how I always
reality,
look at it.
to be honest with you, as much as I bust your balls, to be honest with you, that's exactly what I respect. You know, sometimes somebody recently sent me a message, I'm sorry I'm asking you so many questions. And I was like, I like it. I like it because that means, I don't know if I have an answer for everything, but if I know an answer, I'll tell you. If I don't know, I'll tell you I don't know. But I think when you asking a lot of questions in general, I ask a lot of questions myself. I think that's hunger for knowledge. That's when you want to know something, and also shows that you're not an arrogant prick that thinks that he knows everything. If you don't know, you ask.
Yeah,
But if
because like I said, I don't know everything, and I don't know shit about shit. So if I can get information somehow, I'm gonna find a way to get the information. So this is actually a question that actually this can go for both of y'all. So do you believe social media has skewed the perception of success in this industry alone?
Sean, you go ahead. You don't answer a lot of questions.
I have
I,
my
I
answer ready as well too.
I think it does because I think probably 75% of people on Instagram, it's what they want to be. It's not really who they are.
Right.
I mean I think the long and short of it. Let me sit in front of this rented Lamborghini. Here's my big house. Here's my Rolex. Where it's like, dude, you flip burgers or you flip chicken sandwiches at Chick-fil-A, you're making 40 grand a year. Not that that's bad, but dude, you drive a Sentra, you drive a freaking Hyundai. Don't act like you aren't. And hopefully that's the way I portray myself, and hopefully I'll be called out if I ever am fake. But I like to think of what you see is what you get on my Instagram and in person.
Yeah, I agree pretty much with that answer. I think also like a lot of people, some of them are losers. They have no life, they have no aspirations, they have no goals, and then their life is on social media. Behind a keyboard, you can be a hero. Behind a keyboard, you can be somebody. And if you call out somebody who is successful or achieved something in life, and you get an answer from that person, you get under his skin, that kind of makes you relevant. And I think that that's where it comes from. Not saying everybody, of course, but you have that. So you got to be very, very careful with social media because yes, the truth is not always what it seems. So you got to take it with a grain of salt. And also, I used to get into fights and arguments with people. Right now, when I see like a dumb comment or something like that, I've said it before. I either ignore it. If it's something that I don't want my family and friends to see it, then I just delete it. And if that person persists on being a dick, I just block them. And I got some criticism for that. Like, why would you do that? Why don't you leave it out there? It's my page. It's my page, and if I don't want you to be on my page, you're not going to be on my page. And if your sole purpose is not constructive criticism, but you're trying to get a reaction out of me, and you're trying to get attention or something like that, then I don't think that I want to see your ass again. So I'd rather just delete, block, and do stuff like that because social media obviously that's the reason why we have the situation that we have today. Everybody is either scared to say something or they're saying something to get under your skin and to get an answer from you, to get attention from you. So, yeah, I mean, I agree with what Sean said. In general, that's the way it is.
But you can't win though, Robik, because you don't respond, you delete it, you block it. They think they won, where it's like, no, I just don't have any time for
Oh
you. Go
yeah.
away.
Yeah, the reason is like for example, you have a daughter, I have a daughter, right?
Yep.
And then somebody somebody's going to comment, for example, on this podcast, on one of your podcasts, and going to say, well, you know what, Sean, I don't like the way you run your podcast, or I don't like the format, or something like that, or maybe you can do this better, or in my opinion. Especially, I like when people say "in my opinion" because that says it's your personal opinion. It doesn't make it true.
Yep.
It's just your opinion. So if somebody says, the background behind it or your logo, I think you can change it. It's, in my opinion, it's not that good. It's not what it's supposed to be. And it's fine. There is nothing wrong with it. It's just a person who respectfully expresses his opinion. So you can get into conversation with him, or even a friendly argument, discussion. That's fine. But if somebody, calls you out, doesn't call you out, but insults your religion, insults your gender, insults your sexuality, insults you as a person, as a father, or as a human being, as a husband, insults your character, then, your daughter might look at it. She might
Yep.
check your social media and she sees some dickhead just insulted her dad and called him names and stuff like that. And just, it's not very pleasant for a young girl to see that about her father. And I think that's just wrong. So why would somebody like that be on your page in the first place? And why would you respond to him? He doesn't deserve for you to respond to him. He doesn't deserve your response. So rather than seeing that, I'm not saying everything should be positive on your page,
Of
but
course.
when somebody is doing insult for the sake of insult, that person should be deleted and should be blocked. He has no, you wouldn't have a toxic person in your life. You would get rid of that. If a friend insults you or hurts your family, your loved ones, or stuff like that, what you do is you actually, you disconnect from that person. You kick them out of your life. The same
Yep.
thing with social media. You kick that person out, and that's it. Your life is much, much easier, and you don't need that shit in your life.
Yeah. No, good point. In your case, though, if they get nasty, just send Jessica to go kick their ass. Go ahead, Juan. Tee him up.
All right. So, I mean, also just as a side note, like whenever if I catch someone like maliciously hating on me, I go into self-destructive mode. I'm gonna be 100% honest and very vulnerable. I'll go into self-destructive mode and I will do research on that person and I will hate on them every single day and I will see to it that I check their page every day to make sure they're doing terrible in life. And I will not go to bed until I know that there's something bad happening in their life. And I will do what I can to make sure bad things happen because I'm just a natural hater like that. But
Damn.
that's why I stay quiet to myself.
As fucked up as it is, number one, I admire your honesty, and number two, that's actually pretty natural state, so it's normal.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah, let's
Robik 15
hate
years
on me.
ago.
There's one brand that pissed me off one time, and ever since then, I always see to it that they're doing terrible as far as their promotion and stuff like that because I fucking hate them. Let me see. So, this is for Mr. Robik. So, you have multiple people review your all your products from Apollo Nutrition to Body by K and now Anarchy. So, to me, my opinion is that a lot of these reviewers, their formats kind of come out the same, right?
Agree.
And do you think that you want to see something different as far as how the review format goes? I'm gonna use me as an example. This may come off like a narcissist, but I mean it is what it is. I do my reviews a little differently. I always add like some kind of like it's kind of like a David Fredrickson, where he adds on his YouTube videos, he has like little funny clips in between just to keep the audience gravitated towards them, just to keep their attention and just add a little bit of a humor to it and a little bit of just to make the person entertained. And I always go about my reviews like that just because I see the same thing happening as far as like the formats, and I don't want to, do the same format. I want to be a little different with it. Even if people are just, even if like it means that I make a joke at my own expense, that's cool. But as long as you can still check out the product, I'm good with it. But do you want to see something different as far as a format on your products, like a different review format?
Well, you have a pre-workout, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So the whole purpose about pre-workout, in reality, I mean, you can have stem, non-stem, and whatnot. But let's talk about the real pre-workout. Real pre-workout, I mean, does have stems because the whole purpose initially about pre-workout was to get your ass to the gym to have energy, right?
Right.
Pump and focus, obviously that helps, that's needed, but it's the energy, it's the stems. Now you know very well that caffeine is very cheap. That's
Right.
the cheapest form that you can get. So if you did a proprietary blend and put like 5 grams total. Out of those 5 grams would be citrulline and beta-alanine and God knows what else. I mean, clearly because it's a prop blend, in 5 grams, there is nothing in it. I mean, clearly it's a shit product.
Right.
However, out of those 5 grams, you're going to put 800 milligram of caffeine. I mean, it's a proprietary blend, so I wouldn't know, right? 800 or 1,000 or something like that. Now, you give it to an average consumer, that's going to hit. It's
Right.
definitely going to hit. It's going to wake you the fuck up. So now you have that energy. So the consumer that doesn't know thinks like, holy fuck. And that pre-workout costs you to make like $3 or $4, but you're selling it for like 30 or 40 bucks, which seems cheap next to a product like Apollo Nutrition or NutriBio. You're like, holy shit, you know what? This is a $30, $40 pre-workout that costs $3, by the way. But this shit smacks. Like, it's really, really strong pre-workout. This is good shit. Again, because you don't know any ingredients. Now, when you don't know any ingredients, what do? You go and you turn to Review Channel. Review Channel reviews a product. It's a proprietary blend. It has a shitload of caffeine. It does provide energy. It's a shit product. It's really, truly a shit product. You know it's a shit product. I know it's a shit product. Sean knows it's a shit product. And we know the Review Channel. But the Review Channel says, oh my God, it's fucking great. You know, why? Because he's getting a kickback. He gets 10, 15, 20% commission, which is really not that big of a deal when you sell a product for 30, 40, it's 1,000 fucking percent markup. It's insane. I mean, you can really have a good life. So now that Review Channel is responsible for the consumer buying really a shit product. Basically, it's just caffeine. It's cheap stimulants, that's all it is. I am definitely against it. Why? Because that same Review Channel tomorrow is going to review your product. Mm-hmm. It's going to review my product. And that product is going to be packed. And it's not going to cost $3 or $4. That's going to be a fully transparent product. It's definitely going to deliver on different aspects. It's going to have a couple of trademark good ingredients. It's going to be a lot more expensive than $3, $4. Now, by the sound of it, the Review Channel is going to go, oh, you know what? It's not that powerful. It's not that strong. It's a good pre-workout, but it's not that strong. He just made your pre-workout sound less effective than the pre-workout that you just reviewed that is absolute trash. Maybe he's not knowledgeable enough. He doesn't know the ingredients. He doesn't know shit. All he knows whether it smacks or it doesn't smack. He doesn't know anything else. Not about pump, not about focus, not about what works, not about dosages, nothing. All he did, he felt a lot of caffeine, a lot of stimulants. Now tell me, is that a good Review Channel? It's shit.
Right.
It's garbage. And without naming any of them, let's be honest, there are quite a few of them.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, they built the following beforehand.
So to me, is that a good Review Channel? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's not somebody who is giving the industry a good look. He's filling his pockets with money. He doesn't make products. He doesn't do shit. He doesn't check the labels. He doesn't manufacture shit. But because he reviews products every other day or once a week or every day or whatnot, and because a bunch of people fell for his bullshit, now he's filling the pockets with money, kickbacks from the same shitty companies. Why wouldn't they give him a percentage? He just sold a fucking pre-workout for $40 that cost $3 or $4 to make. So even if they give him $5, they sell 1,000 of them. That's $5,000 for just a video because he has a huge following and he's doing well. So is that a good Review Channel? That's not. And I used to call them out. I used to do one of the videos that I've done with Alan, destroying those Review Channels. I was probably the most hated person in the supplement industry. But at the same time, that was one of the most viewed videos I've ever done. And I'm still contemplating whether I should do it again. But the truth is, these channels are predominantly dominating today. Why? Because nobody calls them out. I just recently, and I'm not going to say who it is and what it is, just recently, I saw a product that is absolute fucking garbage. Well, maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit. It's not total garbage because it was a fully transparent formula, but at least 2 or 3 ingredients in that product was shit. They know it's shit. They know it's shit. And yet it was posted. It's a great pre-workout. And then a bunch of people that I know personally, and I know that they're very knowledgeable, made comments on that page, on that post, saying, "Oh my God, this is great. This is phenomenal." Why? Because they're going to get that product too. And they're going to get the kickback too.
Right.
But they just lied. They just lied. They willingly tricked the fucking consumer to thinking that the product is good when product in essence is trash. I mean, I understand business is business. I understand money is money, and I understand everybody wants to get, wealthy and rich and do well, and God bless them. But how do you look yourself in the mirror knowing that you just fucking conned people into buying a garbage product? So to me, a reviewer like that, and some of those reviewers review Apollon products too. Do I feel good about it? No, I don't. I don't. And I'm even more ashamed of the fact that I'm keeping my mouth shut. Because Sean knows me for a number of years. 5 years ago, this Robik would not shut up. I would fucking torch them. And, I'm not doing that, maybe because I became a pussy, which
Get
I'm
wiser.
wiser. I don't know, wiser. I think stupider, and maybe a sellout in a way. I'm actually saying a little bit too much right now. I might regret this. But that's the truth. That's the truth. So your question is pretty fucked up. You threw me under the bus. but in a way, I'm very grateful because that needed to be said. And I wish there was more honest reviewers. But unfortunately, predominantly we're surrounded by shit. Just like we're surrounded by shit products. Okay,
So
I'm gonna
like
shut the
so
fuck up now.
so like whenever I do the reviews like on Tuesdays, I always stress that I buy those products myself because it's a small business that's that they have a decent looking formula. It's their first beginning, so I want to be able to at least do what I can to support for someone that's always trying, and hopefully they get better and better and better, just like myself. But whenever I do my review, I always do a workout with it because I want to know if I can feel those effects. So I always include a workout with it because I plan on buying Desperado. I plan on buying Desperado very soon because I want to do the review on it too, but I want to be able to work out with it because I want to be able to know exactly, okay, like during the end of my review, I always rank what I feel between pump, energy, and focus. I always say like first place is pump, second place is energy, third place is focus, like based on what I felt from the pre-workout. And I always say like, don't buy the pre-workout because of me. I'm shopping for my pre-workout based off of what I know works for me and what I know my body wants and what I know what works best for me to perform. At the end of the day, you have to know what your body needs to be able to perform at the gym at its fullest capacity. Now, some people have a very high sensitivity to stims, so if you do, you should know your body enough to know, okay, maybe I shouldn't use a high stim, or maybe I should use like a lower to mid stim or a non stim. But I think the fact is that like I always work out with them when I do my reviews because I want to know exactly what I'm feeling. Because if Joe Schmo says, "Oh, this is great for this, this, and this," well, I just worked out with it and I felt the complete opposite. So, I mean, how do I know you're telling me the truth? Because my body just felt something completely different. So that's why I was asking you about as far as like review formats.
Mhm.
I think you work out with it because you want to show off your sexy body because you're down like 30 pounds.
Yeah, I'm trying, man. I'm waiting for the modeling contracts. I mean, Robik, if you need a model for Apollon, let me know. I'm available.
I'm looking for, I'm about to retire, so I'm looking for a younger version of me. You're pretty sexy, so I think you can cut
Hey, no, I'll take it, man. I'll take
it.
it. Hey, like you got the dimples coming out and everything. So Sean,
Yes.
I'd rather go. I want to direct this one to you, Sean. Robik, you might be able to know. Um, have you ever fallen victim to marketing gimmicks with products that ended up being underwhelming?
Well, yeah,
I will
because
say yes for me.
okay, but I'm going to age myself here because I grew up in the generation of magazines where everything like 10, 15-page ads, where back then everything was prop blend back in the 90s. So I can go
Okay.
on forever to tell you what I purchased, anything that had, STERO in the subject line or in the title, you think, oh, it's steroids and everything else. And I fell victim to that back in the 90s.
Okay. Yeah, see,
You know,
mine was the Ghost Welches. I fucking hate it.
Robik's a ghost guy. Go ahead, speak
I
on this, Robik.
fucking hate Ghost Welches. Oh my god. And I fucking hate the Just Work from Axe and Sledge grape soda. I fucking hate that one too. I've never been so disappointed. Those are the only two situations where I did not finish the entire can. I fucking hate it.
I never tried that from Accent Sledge. I just tried actually the protein. What is it? Peanut butter honey? Yeah, I think peanut butter honey, and that was very interesting. It tasted pretty good. I didn't like the aftertaste. I didn't like the aftertaste. It just felt, like for me. But this is, of course, this is personal. So this is, I'm not actually shitting on them or anything like that. But for me, a protein shake that is just too sweet, it's just not good.
It ends up having a bad aftertaste at the end. The
Yeah,
sweetness.
then and this one, like you take a sip and you're like, oh my god, this is nice. This is nice, creamy. It's impressive. And then the aftertaste gets in, and you're walking around like, oh shit, I need water. I need water. This is like
Yeah,
way too.
you got shit breath whenever you're walking around afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, you have to kill that aftertaste. So that I did not like. And this is another product, that every review channel, everybody raved about. Oh my God, this is amazing. This is great. This is, and I do recognize that we all have different tastes, but everybody, I have a gym, and people in my life, everybody who tried it, nobody really loved it. Nobody like fell for what the review channel said or how amazing it is. Everybody said, yeah, it's not bad, but then a lot of people agreed on the aftertaste, just too sweet.
So wait, let's get back to the original here, Robik. Have you tried the Grape Ghost? Because Ghost is probably your number one energy drink that you like, correct?
No, actually,
No.
Monster.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Monster is my favorite. Monster was always my favorite. I
Okay.
stick to basics and classics. So Monster was always, and believe it or not, my runner-up is 3D. I love 3D energy drinks in terms of like the taste, the flavors. I think that they're very good. I'll give Ghost props for creativity, for marketing, for labels, and the fact that what they created is very, very impressive. The products are not bad in general. Energy drinks, a little disclaimer, don't do shit for me in terms of energy. I don't feel none of it. What I feel is like whether I like the flavor or not. So for me, this is like a pure soda, apparently sprinkled with caffeine that I don't feel. I probably can have 4 or 5 cans and not gonna feel shit. I just don't know. They don't work on me that way. Ghost flavors, some of them I really like. Some of them I really like. Some of them are so, just like with anything else. In terms of grape, so with grape and apple, the sour apple, they taste exactly like grape and exactly like sour apple.
Okay.
However, those are not my favorite flavors. I mean, it's just, and plus on top of it, I have acid reflux, and for some reason, both of them give me a little bit of that, especially the apple one, as much as I recognize it tastes exactly like green sour apple, but it destroys my stomach. Like the acid reflux that I have on it is just not good.
Well, interesting. Okay. All right. So here's from somebody that knows you. You're a TV or a movie buff. Has anybody watched the new Penguin? Because I know there's a new Penguin series on
On
HBO
Max.
Max with Colin Farrell, Colin Farrell, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
bro.
I haven't seen it yet, but I know
I
he's
haven't seen it yet.
phenomenal.
Yeah,
I
I
haven't
want
seen it
to.
either. I heard a lot of good things about it though.
Yeah, I want to see it too, but no, I haven't seen it yet.
Okay. There was another one here. Let's see. Trying to think. So here's another one for I guess for all of us. What movie or movies can you watch over and over? I know, Robert, you're a cinemaphile. I mean, what can you watch over and over and over and never get sick of it?
Rocky, Godfather, Scent of a Woman, Scarface, those movies like nonstop, anytime. I definitely enjoy them. There's more.
Juan, go ahead.
Rob Zombie movies. I love
He's
Rob
good.
Zombie movies.
He's good.
Specifically House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects. I could watch those every single night. I love those two movies. Sherry Moon Zombie was like my love.
For me, and this is going to show a dark side of me, I love American Psycho with Christian Bale. I watch that over and over and over. That's a classic.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a very dark, and still might be one of his best films. I mean, of course, I loved him in Batman. He was phenomenal. But yeah, American Psycho is very good.
And then, Robik, I don't know if you want to answer this. Somebody asked, and I'm trying to find it here. What happened with the OG supplement final scoop with Lucas and Robert? I know we've discussed in the past, but obviously, maybe you just want to close the loop one more time.
Um, the final scoop was definitely a lot of fun and very entertaining. But when you do something with other people, whether it's marriage, work, relationship, podcast, it's a relationship. It's a relationship, and sometimes those relationships go sour. And it's not necessarily between Lucas and Robert. I mean, Shane is pretty much, he loves everybody, and he's not a confrontational guy in general. I had a few disagreements with the group, not with Shane, and but finally it was Robert who pulled the plug on the fact that he wants to take some time off. So it wasn't like really to cancel the podcast or anything like that. But he just got tired of it. He was burned out, and there was a disagreement. I can say it between Robert and Lucas that kind of went a little bit far, I guess. And after that disagreement, to be honest with you, I don't. Well, actually, I do remember. Um, and they had a disagreement that got pretty heated. Um, I think that actually in that particular case, Lucas was maybe right, but the delivery was very, very aggressive.
Okay.
And Robert maybe didn't handle it in terms of, kind of like talking about it and talking it out. So Robert just had enough of, I guess, Lucas's attitude and decided to pull a plug in terms of not the podcast, but himself. And he decided to walk. And we all decided as a result to take a break. And that break resulted in permanent break. And that's pretty much it. And that's it.
Okay. Like you grew apart. Everyone grew apart.
I think grew apart. I mean, as far as I know, that Shane still. I mean, Robert works with Apollon Nutrition, so I'm in touch with him constantly. He's helping us out with some write-ups and whatnot, and we are friends, so the relationship is there. My relationship with Shane is always great. He's a great guy, a good friend. I don't have a relationship with Lucas, and I think that was kind of public.
Okay.
And so there is no denying that. I wish him nothing but the best, but I choose to move on with my life and drama free. And if I don't like you, I don't like your behavior, or I don't like what you stand for, or your approach or attitude, I'd rather go separate ways. So I think this is for the best.
Gotcha. Juan, did you have more questions, my friend?
Oh man, I got like 30,000 questions, man. I stay packing with these questions.
I'm gonna go grab an energy drink. I'll be right back.
Take a case.
Don't get the ghost. Let me see. Oh, so this is for Robik. So let me see if I can find it. I know I had it somewhere. Okay, so Apollon is, I guess now Anarchy Labs as well too. They're known for having their High-Stim high intensity pre workouts. Have you ever gotten any negative reviews or backlash for having like high stims in general?
Oh,
geez.
fuck yes. Oh,
Go back-
fuck yes.
Back
Oh,
like
my God.
2017 with Fit Informant.
Yeah, I was torched for that. Believe it or not Price Plow. Price Plow was actually, they defended me. They did. They actually came to defense. Specifically, I remember Robert when he was with Price Plow. Ben. I mean, the entire crew was basically very scientific about the whole caffeine and strong pre workouts and whatnot. Fitness Informant was very, very aggressive. We got into multiple disputes and disagreements where finally I think his stance is a little bit more political right now, maybe because we are paying him.
So,
Yeah,
Robert, hold on. Let me interrupt for a minute. So, either version 1 or version 2 of Hooligan had 720 milligrams of caffeine. So,
I
Robert,
think. Well, the first one had 450. Then I went to 600 because with 450, everybody was at that point. 450 was a lot. So 450, everybody was well, not everybody, but a lot of people loved it, and obviously a lot of people hated it. I was still a newbie in the industry, so to me, there was, oh, really? You hate me? Well, fuck you. And then I went with 600. At 600, I was hated even more. I mean, we had our army of followers, customers, and admirers, but we had those who criticized it. I was like, oh, you don't like 600? Okay, let me go 720. So I went 720, and then at 720, when everybody realized that I'm insane, they kind of left me alone. So I came down to 600, and at 600 we cruised until version 6. I was like, oh shit, I'm getting no negativity anymore, nothing. I mean, here and there maybe some few comments. So I went down to 500. I don't know what I'm going to do next, but 500 seems to be okay. Assassin had a lot of um, I would say a lot of criticism, but at the same time, it became like a cult classic, kind of a legendary, almost underground pre workout. And today, a lot of pre workouts on the market actually model themselves or copy. I mean, it's true. They copy or resemble, whatever you want to use the term, Assassin. And Assassin keeps evolving, 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 and it's really, really strong. It's definitely not for everybody. It's not for me, but at the same time, I do recognize the fact that there is demand always for something strong, and there is a demand for something not so strong, and there is demand for something that is non-stem. So, you pick your poison, so to speak. I don't think that I should be able to tell you what to do and where. I mean, we just, bring it to the market. But at the same time, if you take Assassin, somebody today, for example, there's this kid on social media, Raymondo, very, very, very nice kid. Like super. I enjoy talking to him. Super nice guy, and fairly knowledgeable and very honest. And he told me that he took Assassin and he took It's a Mad World, and he goes. The funny thing about Mad World, he expected it to be in your face like this, like crazy pre-workout, but it was very strong, but it was smooth, and it definitely it increased performance. So you really, really enjoyed it. And I'm not surprised because it's not all about caffeine. I mean, if you look at the formula itself, it's balanced. It's strong, but it's balanced. You have your focus ingredients and it's properly dosed. You have your pump ingredients. You have everything that you want in pre-workout. The only difference is that this one is very, very strong. So yes, criticism is there, but I think there is no pre-workout or a product on the market that doesn't have criticism, more or less. So I kind of, after a while, you kind of get used to it. Listen, the bottom line is, whatever product you have, if I don't like your product, I should just shut the fuck up. I shouldn't be giving you advice how to make your product that you're passionate about, that you stand behind your product. There are lots of products on the market, and rather than criticize you or, God forbid, tell you how to do your product or what to do, unless you ask for my advice, I should just move on and buy something else. And that's it. You don't like pizza, go buy burger. You don't like burger, go buy, I don't know, sushi, whatever floats your boat. That's up to you. But do not give advice or criticism when nobody's asking you.
Right. That's why I wanted to try. That's why I'm looking forward to getting Desperado, because I'm more of a medium stem to low stem kind of guy. Like I know the higher stems, like I could feel it in my chest. Like it for me, for my body, it hits really fast, and the effects are very nasty for me. So that's why I won't buy high stem pre workouts. But Desperado seems to be like right there of like what I need. It's a bit of a moderate stem, so that's the one I'm looking forward to trying. Either that one, also too, I think it's a Lionheart.
Lionheart, yeah. Sean likes Lionheart.
Yeah. So Juan, Robik and I are very similar where we really don't go to the higher stim products like Desperado and Lionheart or our speed. Like I laughed at Robik almost made Desperado for me because it's got 350 caffeine, well dosed all around, but again, not going to blitz your mind out.
Yeah, that's what I look for. Like I said, I know what my heart can handle as far as like pre workouts, because I've taken high stem pre workouts and I feel like I'm about to die at that moment, just because for some reason like the caffeine just hits too hard for me. So that's why like I'd rather. That's why I always go back to know what your body needs, know how your body reacts to certain ingredients. If
And
you
that's
don't
the reason why when people ask me, why Apollon has few pre-workouts, why not? Everybody's different. Everybody has different needs. Everybody has different goals. And I use this example multiple times now. A Hooligan is a great pre-workout. It's great, and especially now, a little bit lower caffeine and how it's balanced. It's smooth. It's nice. Two types of caffeine. It works great. However, when I tried Hooligan, and this one would be even worse. When I tried Hooligan for Muay Thai, because of the pump, severe pump, I remember clinching somebody in Thailand while using Hooligan. After a while, after 2 rounds, my body just filled with blood, and I got so stiff. I actually
Yeah.
tired. I got tired. I was so stiff and pumped because I was grabbing somebody and my muscles would be tight. At the first 2 rounds, I was strong. I was extremely strong, energetic. All of a sudden, after 2 rounds, I'm like, I don't feel my arms. They look good, but I mean, it's just so it didn't serve purpose for that particular sport and for my needs at the time. So everybody should do whatever they feel like. I mean, that's the reason why you can have few pre-workouts. I think even Celicore had C4, C Dynasty, C this, C that. I
Yeah.
mean, they have a lot of different ones, stronger one, more powerful ones, weaker ones, whatever works for you. I would never criticize a person for using High-Stim or non-Stim. It's just none of my business. Whatever works for you.
So I got to chime here for a minute because the lovely Maria, who's Robik's operation manager, she says, imagine trying 4 to 5 flavors of Hooligan. I'm assuming at once.
Yeah, she got pretty fucked up.
Oh,
It,
Maria, we love you.
it was a nice thing to see. Plus, she liked the flavor, so she goes, "Oh, I feel it. I feel it on my lips. I feel it. I feel it. I feel it. Give me more." I'm like, the fuck? Why more?
Oh, man. Juan, good. Take us down maybe 1 or 2 more and then we'll wrap up.
Actually, okay, so I got one more question. This goes to both of y'all.
Okay.
And this is coming from my perspective because I also have an answer for this one as well too. So, do you believe a lot of business owners are scared or too prideful to admit that they don't have all the answers and don't want to admit that they need some kind of guidance as far as how to maneuver in this industry?
I'll let you go for you, Robik.
Yes, definitely. Sometimes it's pride, sometimes it's stubbornness. There's a Russian movie, very old movie, and I use this expression a lot in Russian, and I'll translate it to English. Stubbornness is the number one indication of stupidity. That's a rough
Yeah.
translation. So you know what? I think being stubborn and pretending that you know it all is what's hurting people. If somebody was a little bit more open minded to discussion and listening to others, and willing to kind of rethink their way of doing things, I think their life would be a little bit better and more complete, and probably would be able to eliminate or minimize mistakes that they have made in the past. So I think being open minded and listening to others, or at least listening to their opinions and reevaluating your position or your stance, definitely would help. So unless I'm a facts person, I always call myself facts person. So if something is black, it's black. If something is white, it's white. If it's raining, it's raining. It's definitely not snowing. Those are facts. But sometimes when there are no facts, there is something that you cannot back up by fact, then it's something that is up for debate or discussion or negotiation. And in that sense, you should be a little bit more open minded and see other people's perspective and listen to somebody and negotiate, discuss, and maybe even change your mind. And you should be open to it because sometimes your way is not the best way. But if you're running your business or you running your life like a dictator, thinking that you're the best and you know everything and you know better than others, sooner or later you might pay the ultimate price for it, either losing your business or losing the person in your life that you don't want to lose, but you're losing relationship, friendship, and whatnot. I'm maybe a little bit philosophical right now, but it's true.
Yeah, no, well said. Again, I think people should be just if they're going to practice transparency with their brand, I think they should be transparent as well. If they don't know the answer or just headed face on.
True.
I always say, it's like I said it a couple times already here. I'll just say it one more time. I always say I don't know shit about shit. I don't. And I never claim to know everything. I never claim to have all the answers. So I always say if I don't know, I'm gonna try my best to figure it out. And if I can't figure it out myself, I'm gonna go reach out to somebody that can help me figure it out. I mean, I've gone to Sean a couple of times as far as behind the scenes about certain things because I don't know the answers or I need help trying to navigate through it. And I'd rather go to somebody that's seasoned in the industry to help me kind of navigate it, because I mean, I don't want
But
to go in.
do you think less of yourself for doing it? Because
No,
I
no,
think you should be proud of that. You should be proud that you're not too proud to ask questions. You're not too
no.
proud to learn. I think that people have always difficulty asking questions, asking for advice, learning. And number one thing that people are afraid or uncomfortable to do in life is to say I'm sorry. That's the biggest thing. They cannot stomach to say. They always look at I'm sorry as defeat, but it's not defeat. It actually shows that your brain is functioning in a capacity that uh, you can admit to wrongdoing, and that's gonna possibly prevent or eliminate future mistakes.
Yeah, like I have no problem like admitting that, I have no problem asking questions and stuff like that. And honestly, I've lost relationships just off of asking questions, because they'll say like, well, why are you asking me this for? Why does it even matter? I'm like, well, I'm just asking you because I would like to know. And if that's a problem, then I mean, then I know where this relationship is going now.
Yep. Guys, one last question, I think, which is very apropos to kind of wind down here. Somebody was asking, what advice would you give someone looking to get into the supplement space? I know, Juan, you're the newest here, so maybe you want to share, and Robik, you'll kind of wind us out.
Okay, so my advice is be ready to have a lot of money to spend and lose, because you're not going to knock it out the park on your first go, on your second go, on your third go. In my opinion, you're not going to be successful as people make themselves out to be. You're just not. Shadow a brand that you want, that you see yourself admiring. Don't shadow a popular brand. Shadow a brand that you respect. So I would say shadow that brand, see how they're maneuvering around, and also too, just see, is this what you want to do? Look at it as a passion project, because if it's a passion project, then you can put 100% effort into as far as like your passion. Whereas if you treat it like it's a business, you're gonna look for, in my opinion, you're gonna look for any way to cut corners as far as costs, and you're gonna find any way to make a dollar. So when you treat it like a business instead of a passion, you don't really have that much. You can't put your best foot forward, in my opinion.
Okay. Robik, thoughts?
I think one is right. I mean, everything in life that you do, yes, if you have a lot of money and you want to invest into property or something like that, that's fine. That's a business move, and obviously, it's a calculated move, so it's fine. But if you're trying to get into something that is going to be your business, in my opinion, you have to love it. You have to enjoy it. It's like marriage. It's long term, and well, maybe it's slightly opposite of marriage, because marriage and relationships, especially in the beginning, they are wonderful, and then they require work and to make sure that you keep and sustain that relationship and that sparkle in your marriage and your relationship. So it's a little bit more difficult. But like Juan said, with supplements, it's a little bit. It's the opposite. It's the beginning that is very, very hard, because you have to find your audience and you have to find yourself, and that's where you struggle. That's where you have to work the hardest. And
Yep.
then, especially if you self-funded, if you don't have investors, if you don't have millions and millions of dollars, that it's becoming even more hard, because it's a very competitive space. So you fighting for each and every customer that somebody else might grab, and that customer went with somebody else because of a shitty review or a funky advertisement, or or influencer that has 10 million followers and everybody's following him like a fucking sheep no matter what he says. That's very, very hard. So in the beginning, yeah, prepare to fail. uh, I don't necessarily think that you will definitely fail. You might succeed right off the bat, but you should be prepared for a battle. You should definitely be prepared for for the difficulties and the challenges that the new business will present itself. Like, for example, we invested money. We didn't invest money. We just bought the product
Hmm.
worth a little bit of money that we invested in a product, but we invested little to nothing, well, actually nothing, into marketing, and we paid the price for it initially. That was hefty price, because now we have a product. How the fuck do we sell it? Even though it's a great product, but how do we sell it? Luckily for us, we had the gym, so we had the outlet where to sell our products. But what about somebody who is has $20,000 or $50,000, which in supplement industry is not a lot of money, and just buys the product and then fucking doesn't have a warehouse or anything like that, and that product is sitting in his garage or basement, and he's looking at the product. Well, now you have to go out there and sell the product, but in order to do that, you have to pay for advertising, you have to market it, you have to do a lot of things, and that's not very easy. So, like Juan said, be prepared for battle and be prepared for failure. And it might be once, twice, three times, and you might never succeed. It can happen too. But be ready. It's good to daydream and expect that you're going to invest $50,000 and next year you're going to have 10 million in your bank account. That's a great dream, and everybody has it. But be prepared to invest $50,000 and then have no money in your account and possibly no food and money to pay your rent. Be prepared for that. And if you're not prepared for that, then the reality might hit you a little bit harder than you think.
Yep. So, Robik, Friday we have Furiosa coming out, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Pre-workout capsule form. Anything else coming up in the next week or two you want to let people know, or is that the big thing this week or next week?
This is probably it for the next at least 2 weeks. Then we have down the line, I think in about 2 weeks or so, we're launching Apollon Health will launch a joint formula called Unbreakable, and so on.
And Juan, did you come out with new apparel? I know there were new drops, but apparel or?
Yeah, 713 shirts.
Okay.
Houston's own. So I got the 713 shirts. They just dropped, and they go from sizes small to double XL, and I'm throwing in free blender bottles with the Gainz Express logo on there, just as my way of saying thank you. It goes back to the question, like be prepared to lose money. I'm willing to lose a little bit of money just as a way to say thank you for everybody that buys and supports, because I'm telling you, the minute that Shopify notification comes up and it shows that someone placed the order, I'm like, all right, let me get you a shaker bottle. Let me get you an energy drink as well, too, just in case if you don't like the product, let me give you something as a way of still saying thank you for at least taking a chance with a small brand. So, yeah, the 713 shirts came out. Better quality as opposed to the other shirts, but it's still going to be the same price of $24.99.
And 713, your zip code, right? For your area, your zip code for where you live, area code.
Ironically, my area code for my phone is 832, but Houston is 713 is the classic Houston area code.
All right. Well, guys, it was a pleasure. I'm glad we had everybody here together. For everyone watching this, let us know if you want to see this cast of characters back again. As always, thank you so much, and have a great rest of the week.
Take care, guys. Thank you.
Thank y'all again.